Hi everybody, welcome into Nuggets Europe. Wherever you're watching us around the world or in Europe, in Serbia, like a load of people are, and in the UK, Ireland, France, Poland, wherever, because the amount of people watching this is crazy. Welcome in. It's great to be able to chat to you again. Michael here, and tonight we're joined by a few guests, a special guest tonight from our friends over at DNVR. First time we had Brendan on last week. It's great to have Harrison Wind on. Harrison, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me on, Michael. Glad to be on with you guys for sure.
Definitely, man. And there's a lot to speak about in a short period of time, so I'll get the other guys in. I know you know this guy. He's quite popular at the minute in Serbia. Miroslav. He's turned into the OG in Serbia. Dobro večer, Miroslav.
Dobro večer from Pančevo, Serbia. Dobro večer.
And the very good evening to Brad, who obviously is turning into a stalwart of this broadcast at the minute. Good evening in London, Brad.
Good evening. Very hot London, thank you.
Here, like, it's bone cold in Ireland, so can you please bring, like, you're not even there, like an hour away from me, please.
You can have some. 36 it hit today.
Look, it's all good. Harrison, look, before we even jump in, guys, to the 124-121 loss at a very early time last night, we're not even going to talk about that, but we'll come into that in a second. Harrison, just for people in Europe watching who are obviously going to be aware of DNVR, just about yourself, Harrison. How long have you been with DNVR, and have you been there since the BSN days? And if not, what got you into reporting on the Nuggets?
Oh man, I've been with DNVR, since before we were DNVR, when we were BSN Denver. Wasn't even that long ago. It was a little over a year ago when we were still BSN Denver. But I've been with us pretty much since the beginning, since the early days. I've been covering the Nuggets since Michael Malone got there, doing it part-time over those first couple of years and then full-time for the last 3 years. But yeah, it's been cool because I've been around the team for so long. I feel like I've seen this team grow up. I feel like I've seen Jokic, Jamal Murray, a lot of these younger guys grow up, and Michael Malone too. So I've been around a while. It's gone pretty quickly.
And it's great to see, and I know these lads below will agree as well, it's great to see the coverage from the DNVR just go from strength to strength. And it's something that's adaptable to us over here. Like, we can get on anytime. And the only thing that we can't do, lads, is go to the bar, which is just, at the minute, it's soul destroying, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, we'll say no, but like, we obviously wish you guys obviously the very best with the bar. And I'm sure when we get over there, we'll get a few member-sized pints or slugs, but that's a different story for a different evening. Yeah. Talking about evenings, lads, and Harrison, I'll start with you, man. The game was on over here last night at 2 a.m. and in the UK and Ireland, and 3 a.m. in Europe. So I know Miroslav watched it live. I fell asleep during the second quarter. Gonna be honest and say it. Brad didn't watch it. No.
I woke up for the fourth quarter. It was brutal. Tough.
Fair play. Harrison, I'll be honest though, we've watched all the games anyway, especially because they've been quite friendly to us. That Utah game was very time friendly for us. What was your take on last night? Because obviously, you know, Jokic only had 25 minutes, so it wasn't as if the guys were playing for the full duration. What was your take? Because it was quite close.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely close in the fourth. It was about what I expected from a minute standpoint, and I think this is what we're going to get over these next two games, the last two seeding games. The starters maybe playing 20 to 30 minutes max, and then maybe the bench takes them home. Maybe against the Clippers, you go toe-to-toe a little bit more just because it's a nice little measuring stick game, and you could see them in the conference finals or the second round. But the first three quarters of this game, I thought, were pretty competitive. My biggest takeaway from the first three quarters is actually how bad LeBron James looked. I thought he looked pretty terrible, especially in the first half, and then turned it on. So I was like, wow, the Lakers, everybody's been talking about how they have a lot of red flags. I can see it based on how LeBron's playing over the first half especially. But in the fourth, I thought it was pretty cool to watch that Nuggets bench unit. Monte Morris, PJ Dozier, Bol, Keita Bates-Diop, and Mason Plumlee go toe-to-toe with the Lakers closing five. They went toe-to-toe with LeBron, with Anthony Davis, with really the Lakers closing five. And I thought that was a pretty cool moment. And another takeaway I have, and I don't know how much I believe this one, but I kind of believe this one. If the Nuggets were to go up against the Lakers in a playoff series, they played them really tight in all regular season matchups. All the regular season games Nuggets have played against the Lakers have all been really close. But this game especially, if Monte, if PJ Dozier, maybe even if Mason Plumlee have to play against the Lakers in the playoffs, I think they'll have confidence because of that fourth quarter.
And hopefully we get as far into September and October as possible, Harrison. I know the late nights are going to be bad, but I think you summed it up perfectly. And anybody that is a member of DNVR, Harrison's got a piece out at the minute talking about, I think the title is "We Don't Carries on the Court," talking about that depth last night, and it was great to see, man, as well. But Brad, obviously, you woke up in the fourth quarter, so you definitely got a bit of good timing for that, yeah. You must be impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the bench looked really good. Well, from what I saw anyway for the fourth quarter, I can't really comment on the rest of the game, if I'm honest, 'cause I've watched the highlights back now, but it doesn't really do it justice, unfortunately. But as we've been saying for the last couple of games, I think it's nice to see Dozier starting to grow a little bit more. I mean, we spoke about him in the previous game, in the Utah game, where that pass that he just pulled out of absolutely nowhere just blew my mind, and I think it's nice to see him growing a little bit more. Obviously, we're going to need him because I don't know what's going on with Harris and Barton at the moment. I don't know if they're going to be back and when they're going to be back, because he still seems to be out. So these guys have got to step up and take over those minutes. So, but yeah, no, it was nice. I mean, as you said, I mean, LeBron, I've watched a few Lakers games and he hasn't looked anywhere near it so far in the bubble, but it's LeBron, so he can step it up whenever he wants, really. So.
And it's early days as well. Like, we're seeing Harrison over here in Europe, a lot of the European sports like soccer, it's taking time and they're finding they are almost burned out. But Harrison, one guy that was awake last night at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this game was Miroslav. Miroslav, first of all, why? I'm only joking. And secondly, you must have you been to bed yet, or what?
I actually have to thank my younger boy, who is only 2, and he woke me up at 2:30. So to make sure that I will be up at 3 o'clock, so I didn't miss
Nice.
a single second of the game. Yeah, I was actually planning to watch the second half live and just tune in, to do the compressed first half before that. But yeah, I did it all live. I have to completely agree with Harrison's take about minute distribution in Denver Nuggets. It was really expected to have starters playing less than 25 minutes or so. One surprise for me were the Lakers, actually, because I expected them to play fourth quarter without their starters as well. That only made sense, but obviously Frank Vogel is very unhappy with the form of his team at the moment. So I guess they were trying to push the camaraderie between them. LeBron really looked old. This is the biggest take. He wasn't so bad. He just looked old.
He did.
He looked like bad Paul Millsap, really, from time to time. Because Paul Millsap from time to time have great games, and then he just go and look. Oh, this guy is like Adam Mares old. So yeah. I would say it was a very interesting game. It was really crazy how the end of bench guys fought against the first team LA. I was really impressed with PJ Dozier, with Ball. Why not with all of the 5 that played continuously 15 minutes at the end.
Yeah, and obviously seeing Dozier getting 18 points was great. But I seen Harrison, your tweet there as well from last night, man. Obviously LeBron saying it was a scrappy Denver team, and even though they didn't play a lot of their big guys down the stretch, the team is well coached. Mike Malone is one of my favorite coaches, one of my favorite guys in the NBA. That tweet got much love last night, or as you can see on the time there, for me, Harrison, 8:10 in the morning, which is very late for you as well in one sense. It's fantastic comments from LeBron. Obviously, the stalwart that he is, that shows you that the depth of this team is just class.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, Michael Malone coached LeBron for a while. Those two have a lot of respect for each other. And yeah, it's still to this day. I think you guys touched on it, but Dozier was probably the biggest winner last night, at least for me. Probably his best game in the bubble, 18-4. And one thing we know about Michael Malone is he loves PJ Dozier. He loves him some PJ Dozier. He loves his size. He loves how he plays defense. He loves just how confident he plays. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't be too surprised if PJ Dozier was playing like 10 minutes a game in the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
I love that. I would absolutely love that, guys. And talking about the game before the playoffs, let's start this. Harrison, lads, you could not imagine my utter joy, and Brad and Miroslav, I'm sure you'll agree, last night when it was announced that the Nuggets are playing the Raptors on Friday at 11:30 Mountain in the morning, which means for us,
well, this schedule has been amazing for you guys. This matinee, the early schedule that Denver's gotten like every single day of this seeding round has been great for you guys.
And not just Denver, but even like I don't want to go off the topic of the Nuggets, but like the Avalanche as well are playing really early as well. It's really worked out, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that Raptors game. But even looking ahead to Thursday, guys, I mean, I guess starting with yourself, Harrison, do you expect it to be very much the same? Because obviously it's that situation where do you play a few starters or maybe try and get that depth again?
Yeah, well, it's fascinating on a number of levels because you could look at it from a seeding perspective, which is a whole different story. And like, if the Nuggets lose that game, they're probably the 3. And then you don't play Dallas in the first round because, of course, Dallas is going to be the 7 here, it looks like. That's a whole nother story. But I think we're going to see something similar. Denver's going to look, at least in my opinion, to establish some chemistry with their starters, with their top bench guys in the first half. Probably start them again in the third quarter. And then I think most likely you'll see another scenario where they hand it over to the bench in the fourth. I think that's a smart approach. They're pretty much locked into a seeding right now, as I said. No home court in the first round. And I'm with you, Michael. I think, or it was Miroslav who said it, but the reason the Lakers went all out last night was because they've looked like crap in the bubble so far. They had the worst offense, worst three-point shooting. So they've looked, they've struggled. So yeah, they did want to get some chemistry. But yeah, I expect us to see something similar.
It's going to be interesting to see, and I'm going to watch it live. But Harrison, Miroslav, Brad, are you going to watch it live? 2 a.m. Sky Sports action. Come on, you have to do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
That wasn't very convincing, Brad.
If the Rockies win tonight, I'm in. All right, that's right. My deal. Okay?
Right, I've got you on that then. And you know what?
You've got it recorded or on it?
We will live stream it as well. And that's the other thing, Harrison. Like, and Miroslav, you haven't got the same experience that me and Brad have, but since the bubble started, like every Nuggets game has been on TV. It's absolutely ridiculous over here. That never happens for us.
Wow,
it's nuts. I think the playoffs last year, every game was on TV, but.
Well, I don't even get Nuggets games on my cable package.
Well, yeah, well,
you actually the deal in Colorado. Where's the deal in the world?
Was it I think it was. I think Brad, was it the San Antonio Spurs game? I think it might have been that one. We had the altitude broadcast, and you just felt horrible for lads in Denver, and you're like, oh, I mean, we can watch it like thousands of miles away, and you can see Vic Lombardi come on, and like obviously, we can't, but it's all good. Miroslav, are you going to wake up your child again at 2:30 in the morning on Thursday or Friday? Or?
He will wake up me for sure. But no, this is go time. These are not the games you are supposed to skip. So all kidding aside, I will be live with the Nuggets during that night. This is a fascinating game, as Harrison said. The seeding part of it's really interesting because there is a really small chance for the Clippers to fall all the way down to the 4th, and I don't think they want to do that. I think they will not rest both Kawhi and Paul George. They might rest one of those two guys, or maybe they will start both of them, and then later on during the game rest them at the end, because the Nuggets will surely rest their guys. We don't know. We already know that Jeremy Grant is questionable for the game. I don't think he will play. He is a really good matchup for the Clippers. This is a good thing for Mike Malone to hide from Clippers, if that's even possible these days. So I think he will most definitely not play. We won't see Gary. We won't say Will. We probably could see them in the game against Toronto. This was a rumor. So it will be interesting. Denver will probably play similarly to the game against the Lakers, and the Clippers are very interesting to me. I think the Clippers will push to win this game, and Nuggets will for sure not.
I actually remember Harrison was on an episode of DNVR Bets. This is how little time I have in Ireland here at the minute, Harrison. I was watching this episode with you and Ryan. I think it was like a month ago, and one of the questions Ryan asked you was, obviously the slate of the 8 games the Nuggets has, and I think you were speaking already about those last 4 games. That pure, like, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's just interesting, especially on the betting side. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see on Thursday morning for us what is going to happen. Personally, guys, I want to see 15, 20, 25 minutes of Jamal Murray. I know it's a bit like, the guy was absolutely gassed the other night against Utah. Like, I felt sorry for him at one point, but it was incredible, and you sort of worry that what happens if he gets injured again. But hopefully, touch wood, it'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he did look gassed against Utah, but I thought he looked a lot better against the Lakers. Like, he was like, there were times during that Utah game where he was bent over, like trying to massage his hamstring. I was like, man, why is this guy still out there? But he looked much better, I thought against the Lakers.
Yeah, and let's see what happens Thursday morning. Sorry, Wednesday night. I know this whole time difference, guys, sucks. Last question, Harrison. How have you, okay, first of all, be honest, before the bubble started, what was your expectation? Because obviously, it was a complete unknown. We didn't know if it was going to work. I have to say, personally, I've been very impressed with how it's worked. And even watching it generally, any game over here, it's very easy to watch. How have you found the bubble so far? And has your expectation of this Nuggets team greatly increased after you've seen them play in these first, 5-6 games?
Yeah, I think just from like a coronavirus standpoint, it's gone like way better than anybody thought it could have, and way better than I thought it could have. Like, I think there was an expectation that guys, and I don't know why there was this expectation, but there just was, that guys were going to get the virus while inside the bubble. Yeah. It seemed like the NBA was prepping for there to be a couple or a handful of positive cases inside the bubble at some point. But now that everybody's in there and they got through that first 3 to 5 day period, they seem to be in a really good spot. It seems like it'd be pretty surprising if there was a positive test inside the bubble now. So from that standpoint, it's surprising how smoothly it's gone. And I think you got to give a tip of the hat to the NBA. My expectations for the Nuggets, they've definitely gone up. And it's simply because of the Michael Porter Jr. factor. I mean, without him, if he was not a central part of this rotation, I think this team probably maxes out in the second round. I don't see how they could beat the Clippers. I could see them losing to a handful of other teams in the second round. They could even fall in the first round, in my opinion. But with Michael Porter Jr. in the rotation, it raises their ceiling so much higher. And I think they can go toe-to-toe with the Clippers, even with the Lakers, if Jamal, Michael Porter, and Nikola are playing at their peak. If they're playing at their max level, I think they can go toe-to-toe with those teams. So my expectations are way up, and it's really only because of MPJ.
Oh, man, that's beautiful to hear. I'd love if they went toe-to-toe. Brad, do you agree, man?
Yeah, absolutely. I said, we've been speaking about it since the beginning of the bubble. We were MPJ train all the way, and we're just carrying it on. I mean, it hasn't stopped. It's still chugging away. But yeah, no, he's been exceptional, even in the games where his shooting's not quite there. I think that chemistry between those three is going to be key once we hit the postseason, for sure.
I mean, it's not because of their defense. I don't feel better about them because of the Nuggets defense.
No, it's still not. Yeah.
It's MPJ. He's just that game-changing of an offensive talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last word of Miroslav, lads. Dobroveče, Miroslav. Does Nikola Jokic become a god in Serbia if he does lead the Denver Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals? And is it possible, Miroslav?
Okay, hot take. No.
Oh no.
That's not enough. That's not enough for Serbia. We are a country of world champions. We only accept the championship. For him to really be a legend, Vlade Divac already played the big finals in 1990, so that's not such a big of a deal. Kidding aside, Nikola Jokic has a really tall bar to jump over. I would like to see him have a greater career than Dirk Nowitzki, arguably the best European player of all time. And in order to do that, he need to win multiple titles. So yeah. I don't have any journalistic integrity like Harrison, so I can just go for three straight titles right away. But all kidding aside, Michael Porter really lifts the ceiling of the team significantly. I really hope they will use these last 2 games and the first round to fix the chemistry between him and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, because when those 3 guys start clicking on all cylinders, it will be really good, and it will be the best version of Nuggets for this season anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, guys, obviously Nuggets against the Clippers Thursday morning, 2 a.m. 3 a.m. if you're Miroslav over in Arena Sport in Serbia. I think that's what the channel is. Sky Sports over here for us in the UK and Ireland. NBA League Pass if you're not in those lovely countries. Harrison, 7 o'clock for you, obviously, on Wednesday night in the DNVR bar. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all, man. We really appreciate it, and thank you.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. Anytime.
And Brad and Miroslav, guys, I'll see you after the Clippers game when we're obviously discussing the 20-point win. Yeah, all good?
Good stuff.
See you guys. Go Nuggets. Let's get this W. See you guys later.